We've just seen what is potentially quite a disturbing warning sign on this Bitcoin chart right here, and it potentially even indicates that Bitcoin could be headed very low towards $20,000, $15,000 and so on. So as usual, I'm going to be coming back to the markets with a very, very sober look at what's going on to break down for you guys what my take is on this. And just very quickly, if you haven't already seen, Bitcoin has spent a fair bit of time trading down towards the kind of $28,000 level, but then it was really trying to peak up a couple of times, which we were talking about on this YouTube channel as well. If you've been hitting up those likes and staying subscribed to the channel, you're going to know all about that. Unfortunately, we've now dipped back to the bottom of the range, and that has some implications in terms of moving down and so on, which I want to discuss with you all in this video. I also just want to take a quick look at the Fear and Greed Index because we were seeing it climb up by a little bit. Unfortunately, it hasn't quite updated just yet with today's basically dump that we've seen in the market. But one of the things I was mentioning is that perhaps the Fear and Greed Index has risen a little bit too far, up to 17. Again, if you've been watching the YouTube channel, you're going to know all about that. So shout out to those of you who are staying regularly watching these videos and so on. Do appreciate you all very, very much. Obviously, we're at very, very low lows in terms of sentiment right now, and we haven't really been this low for this long as far as I can remember. I mean, there's this one instance right here with the coronavirus market crash of 2020, but honestly, I think we're staying at lower numbers right now for even longer, and that obviously can't go on forever. So I just want to remind you guys that I'm still pretty bullish on the market overall. I bought Bitcoin. I'm still in a profit on that buy that I bought Bitcoin at when Bitcoin was dipping down, and I'm happy with that. I'm perfectly okay with that purchase, even if we end up dropping down, and I want to continue to talk to you all about that in this video right here. But one of the key things that we've done now is we have actually revisited a low which we haven't seen in this market now for 12 days. That just kind of puts this into perspective a little bit. We haven't actually been this low for nearly 2 weeks in this market, and that's neither here nor there. It's not really a big deal, but it does tell us that we are potentially losing some of the progress we've made right here. And one of the things that I just want you guys to be very, very well aware of in this market is that because we've been able to enjoy support in this box that stretches between essentially 28.2 to 29.3, because we've been able to enjoy a lot of support in this range. Look at all of these hits right here, ladies and gents. There's so much going on with this box. It really, when I paint it with arrows, it becomes very obvious just how much interaction we've seen with this box. And now again, obviously, most recently, just today, this becomes really worrying if the price ends up dropping down, because we are then potentially in a situation where we could be dropping down and then potentially capturing a bit of resistance before continuing to drop lower, and obviously that would be quite nasty. Essentially what we've done here, and I just want to remind you guys about this range because this is going to feed into how I mentioned that 15k 20k potential price targets. You guys have probably heard about it if you've been watching this channel for a while, but this is a very, very important little thing here that I just want to highlight to you all. Although first I need to remove all of these arrows because this is going to make the chart look very confusing. Obviously, we're always trying to keep this channel relatively simple. I don't think that I'm covering beginner analysis, but I hope that it appeals to beginners, if that makes sense. There's no need to overcomplicate this stuff. And what I want to highlight right here is that on the way up in this market, obviously we pretty much just went up in a straight line. This is the daily time frame. Each candle here represents 1 day of price action, and for the most part, with two exceptions right here, we were just straight line up, and straight line up. And that is important because on these areas here where we've had these straight lines up, specifically this one here, which stretches from 26,200 to 35,000, there was absolutely no nothing that happened here. I mean, it's the same as what happened between, you know, this low right here at 17.9 up to this high right here at 24.2. There's nothing that happened at this stage in the market. We were able to use some of that information in VIP to rip a ridiculous more than 300% profit because of that at this stage as well. That was a very, very impressive trade. Those of you who are inside of VIP will know all about that. We've actually been doing pretty well in this market, in my opinion, ripping some really nice gains, even on Ethereum as well. And I'm going to get to Ethereum in just a minute. But if you haven't already and you're interested, check out the first link in the description down below to join my free Telegram channel. That's where you're going to be getting more analysis from myself and my team around the clock, free of charge. So if you like this stuff, you can get more of it sent straight to your phone in your pocket. So you get it while it, you know, because it is time sensitive, you get it while it's hot. And if you want to join VIP, all you got to do is click on my name at the bottom of any post inside of that Telegram channel, and then send message to ask me how to join. Moving back to the markets here, though, one of the key things, like I said, is that we did just rise up in a straight line, and you know what we're doing now is actually establishing some price history for the very first time. You know, we're defining levels in this range, and it's pretty clear now that basically 28,000 up to 32,000 is going to be an important level, and we already kind of knew that this area was important, but the fact that we've now essentially consolidated here for quite a long time, ladies and gents. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. It's been a month since we've entered this range when nothing really has happened. You know, that is going to mean that this area is very, very significant. And so, you know, now that we're flirting with potentially breaking this level, you know, I do just want to remind you guys that, again, yeah, if we do end up falling, you know, do expect this area to turn into resistance. It doesn't have to, you know, these things don't have to happen. They don't happen 100% of the time. But look, I mean, let's be real. It's probably going to turn into resistance, at least from what I'm seeing. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. The flip side applies, you know, if we end up breaking up, and this is basically what I said in that video, is that, you know, if we do get the break up, then yeah, we can expect support right here as well. The support isn't as good as the potential resistance, because we've spent way more time around this low, and we've tested it many more times, which is going to make it quite strong on the way up if we lose this level, in my opinion. The support up here, well, currently resistance, we've not tested it as much, and we haven't spent as much time there, so it's just not going to be as important of a level, unfortunately. I really wish I could say something more positive right now, but I can't. Again, the other things that just kind of keep me grounded and feeling okay about all of this is, yes, the fact that we have just been so low in terms of sentiment for so damn long. And that's not normal. You know, usually when that happens, you do tend to see a nice little, you know, potentially a midterm rally at the very least, if not an entire market reversal. So, you know, I don't want to be filling you guys again with any unnecessary hope or anything like that, but that's what I'm seeing right there. Now, the downside here, the issue is that if we do lose this area, precisely because we haven't established any price history at any points lower, you know, pretty much other than these two little blips that I mentioned earlier on in the video, you know, that there is going to be potentially quite a large crash coming if we lose this support level, because there really isn't any other support in this range. You know, I mean, we've been able to establish support here, basically from roughly early May to the end of May. You know, but and now we're testing it, you know, because we've been able to establish it as support previously. But if we do lose this area, you know, this to me is a fairly decent support area right now. I mean, this is decent. This is okay in terms of support. But there's nothing else in terms of support that I'm seeing other than, you know, this 22 to 24K level, and that just might not be enough, you know, and I just want you guys to be aware of that if that is indeed the case. One of the things that this potentially means is, because this, you know, roughly 30K area has now been so significant over here in the middle of last year as well, and towards the beginning of last year, you know, this area has been quite significant for quite a long time. It does remind me a little bit of the $6,000 level from back in 2018, and I'd like to show you that right here. Some similar features right here where essentially, when Bitcoin had managed to peak at this $20,000 level right here, it fell down massively, only to stop crashing at precisely $6,000, and then that's continued to be used as support right here in April, and then again in June, August, September. It becomes much more frequent into October until we finally crashed. This was an amazing time for VIPs. Those of you who were here will remember that. And if we are indeed headed into something like what I'm about to describe, that's not scary to me at all, because I've traded something like this before and we made a lot of money. So if it's anything like last time, and usually these market cycles are quite cyclical, and even if they're not, I mean, my job is to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. I'm pretty confident that this is going to be a very fun market to be trading short positions in, and so on and so forth. So that's going to get quite exciting. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. If you do want to join, you already know the deal. This is where you can see absolutely everything that I'm doing in real time, all of my trades, the reasoning behind my trades, and the information on those trades, like my entry levels and my stop losses and so on, as well as the updates as those positions go on. But bringing us back to the chart right here, $6,000 was able to be established as quite an important support level, kind of like the 30K area that we're actually just below right now, hovering around the $29,000 area. But what we did have was quite an important support area here, similar to what we're enjoying right now. And if we are going to lose it, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a crash similar to what happened right here. And one of the reasons that I'm able to say that is, again, if I look at the rally up, there wasn't really much that happened. If I just try and drop some key levels on this chart in terms of potential support or resistance areas, you're hopefully going to be able to see that there's really not a lot to choose from. If we lose this yellow box, it was pretty clear that the market would probably crash at least down to 5,000. A $1,000 drop, which I know to you and me might not sound like a lot, but back then that was quite a big deal. And from the top of this box down to this line was a 20% drop. I mean, and that's after already losing like 65%. So trust me, it was not comfortable. And actually we didn't really capture support until much lower, until this red line right here, where the price ended up halving. Now the problem is, if we move ourselves back to the present day, we kind of have a similar problem right now. Actually this one is much worse in my opinion, because at least last time there was there were some areas that you could see key reversals happening at, but because this explosion was so quick and so extreme, we didn't even get a reversal. We just stopped for in this case 1 week, and in this case, I don't even know what you call. I don't really want to count that as support or resistance, to be honest. I just don't think it's significant enough. And so we've basically only got this level that's for us is going to start at 24 and end at 22. And if we're not able to do something good with this support area, then there's another very, very clear gap. Bitcoin has never traded in this gap other than these two daily candles right here. It's never ever traded in this gap before. Same for this. We've never traded in this gap before either, other than what's been happening recently. So, there's no price history here. And of course, that is that's what's making this whole thing so damn dramatic. It's literally the fact that we don't have support, and that potentially could indicate that quite a big crash is coming. If we see something similar to last time, then we could expect to potentially halve this $30,000 area, because that's what happened to the $6,000 area. It halved down to 3.1. And so that could potentially put us down to, $15,000-$16,000 around here. I don't think this is going to happen, to be quite honest, but that's it's still my job to talk about these things and and be open to these ideas, because if not, I wouldn't be a responsible analyst. I need to explore these ideas even if I'm not particularly fond of them. That's very, very important to be doing, and so I take a lot of pride in being able to do that. But yeah, these two levels, potentially these two green lines right here, potentially being the key areas to look out for. This honestly should be a box because it represents quite a large range. But anyway, I've just put it down at 15.7 anyway, and 19.7 as well. It doesn't really matter exactly where, but I think bottom line, we could be looking at quite a big crash if it ends up happening. If it does, I'm just gonna buy more. We already have a very, very low reading on the Fear and Greed Index, but you know what, ladies and gents, Bitcoin is not any weaker of an asset here compared to here or here or here. Bitcoin is the most technologically superior it's ever been right now, and that's always been the case. Every single day, Bitcoin technologically becomes stronger and better, and that is very much independent of price. And so if I start to see that sentiment is really super sour for a long time, and that we potentially get yet another death candle, it's the most obvious buy ever to me, and so I would still very much be looking to pick up Bitcoin and so on. Obviously, this is quite a long-term outlook that I'm taking right now, but if you've been in this market for this long and you're still sticking around, you're clearly more of a long-term player. So it makes sense to make these longer term adjustments in your mindset. And by the way, I'm still a short term trader. When I'm actually actively ripping trades in the market, which I've been doing recently, actually, I'm trading more of the short term price action, the short term swings. But obviously, I want to balance my portfolio. I want to make those longer term moves as well. Again, that all goes inside of 𝗪𝗪𝗡 VIP, and all of those trades are happening on Bybit. So check out Bybit with the link in the description down below. You're going to be getting some extra free cash deposited into your account when you sign up using my link down there and make your first deposit. So if you want to support the YouTube channel and get some free money at the same time, all you have to do is sign up to what's been my favorite exchange. I've been working with these guys for years, but it was my favorite exchange before I even started working with them. You can check that out by visiting the link in the description, and then signing up and making your first deposit to get some free money into your account as well, as a thank you. So there you go. That's my analysis on this market right now. Just one final thing that I want to add in is that this has been quite a bearish video, but we are at support, and support is where we tend to see bounces. So hopefully this wasn't too much doom and gloom, but obviously I was just exploring the potential bearish ideas, because we're now perhaps a little bit more ready to have that discussion. But this area has acted as support the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times that we've tested it. Actually much more, 8, 9, and 10 if you count these as well, which I think you should. And so I'm not trying to say that this is definitely going to happen an 11th time, but so far it has been used as support quite a bit, and I don't like betting against 10 to 0 odds, basically, or I guess this is 10 to 1 odds, because the support did get penetrated here briefly. So although if we're counting this, we have to count this, and so actually the odds go up to 12 to 1, which is even more impressive. So still makes sense to be bullish, is what I'm saying. But of course, being very aware of what might happen if I'm wrong, because I could be wrong, and if I am, that's okay. I'm prepared for that, and I've got a plan in place that would probably end up making me more money if I'm wrong. So that's totally okay with me. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have. Obviously, if you can't tell by now, I've been traveling a little bit, so my face cam hasn't been on all the time, but I'm trying to keep the production quality relatively consistent while I'm going around. I'm actually doing something really fun. Check it out on my Instagram if you don't follow me already. I've got the Ferrari here in Europe, actually, so that's very, very cool. And just driving around before I don't know, before I decide to be more serious in my life, I guess. But there you go. Hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Once again, here are the steps to join our free Telegram channel with the first link in the description down below, and to join 𝗪𝗡ly's VIP with these 2 red boxes below it. Just by following these 3 red boxes, you'll be able to join 𝗪𝗡ly's VIP and ask me how and so on. And if you haven't already done so, then like I said, this channel is where you get more free analysis from me. So definitely check that out. Bybit link if you want some free cash. And with that, I'm out. Bye bye.